Hi, I'm Al Caldwell with KLVI Radio in Beaumont. With me today is Joe Domino, President and CEO, Energy Texas. For the next couple of minutes, Joe and I are going to talk to you about Energy Texas's recent proposal to become a member of the Midwest Independent Transmission System Operator, which, by the way, is one of the largest regional transmission organizations in the United States. Joe, as always, good to have you back in studio. Would like our listeners to gain a better understanding of what this is all about. So, as always, we'll start with the basics. What is a regional transmission organization, and why is this so important?
Al, Entergy's commitment to meeting customer demand for reliable power at affordable prices has always been a key element in the company's decision and in our decision to join the Midwest Independent Transmission System Operator. For more than a decade, Entergy has been considering more cost-efficient options to move massive amounts of power around Southeast Texas and other parts of the Entergy system. A number of years ago, with the encouragement of the federal government, regional transmission organizations came into being to more efficiently manage the flow of electricity on the high-voltage lines over large, well-defined geographic areas. Entergy now is proposing to turn over the day-to-day control and operation of its transmission system to one of these capable, independent third-party operators.
Well, now I'm told the Midwest Independent System Operator, which is a mouthful, by the way, is nicknamed MISO, so I think I'll stick with that. Okay, question, why is Entergy proposing to join MISO? I mean, after all, aren't they located in the Midwest?
Well, you're right, Al. They are located, as a matter of fact, in Carmel, Indiana. But when you are moving tiny electrons over vast distances, the physical location of the system operator is not really that important. Today, in fact, Entergy handles much of the control of its transmission system throughout Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Mississippi from a control center in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. We actually considered several options, but after careful analysis, we concluded that MISO offers Entergy's customers greater reliability and value. We estimate that Entergy customers will be able to save $1.4 billion over the next 10 years, and about $200 million of those dollars will flow back to our customers right here in Southeast Texas.
Okay, Joe, if you will, explain just how customers will save money.
Well, much of the benefits are going to come from what we call production cost savings. That's the cost that's incurred at a power plant in producing electricity. And by this, I mean lower fuel expenses will be required to produce electricity. MISO has what is known as a day two market, and that market operates much like a stock exchange. MISO operates one of the world's largest competitive wholesale electricity markets, driving down the price of electricity by matching the supply and the demand. This may be one of those rare instances where bigger is better. Entergy's participation in a much larger electricity market is going to produce measurable benefits that will flow back to our customers right here in Southeast Texas.
Okay, now you and I are both Entergy customers, and I feel the reliability of Entergy is just unmatched. You talked about reliability, so how will joining MISO improve the service and the reliability?
Well, membership in MISO is going to provide Entergy customers access to power plants throughout the region, including additional plants now in the Midwest. This offers us a much wider diversity of plentiful fuel sources, from coal to natural gas and renewables like wind power. MISO presently serves many utilities, large and small. As a matter of fact, MISO operates in 13 different states, as well as the Canadian province of Manitoba. Now, when it comes to service, I want to make one thing clear, though. Entergy Texas will continue to own and be responsible for maintaining the transmission systems and power plants in its service territory. The same is true of our distribution lines running through our cities and rural areas. So make no mistake, when the lights go out, we will have the same responsibility and commitment as we do today to restore your power just as quickly and as safely as possible.
Well, speaking of lights out, Joe, you and I have ridden through a couple of storms together, notably Rita, Ike. What if Southeast Texas does experience another hurricane?
That's a great question, Al, and for everyone's well-being, I hope we can continue to avoid the possibility for a few more years. But if and when the next big storm comes, Entergy Texas will be ready. We'll deploy all available and essential resources to get the region back on its feet, just as we've done successfully in the past. and we are not going to hesitate to bring in 10,000 or more linemen and support crews as we did following Hurricane Rita and Hurricane Ike. Being a part of MISO, with its expertise in obtaining power and routing power along the path of least congestion, is only going to enhance our overall storm restoration and recovery efforts.
Okay, next question, Joe, would be what is the timeline for joining MISO?
It's a great question, and it will be occurring over the next couple of years. We are looking at joining MISO actually during the latter part of 2013. But prior to this, there's a lot of work that must be done. We must submit what's known as a change of control filing with the Public Utilities Commission of Texas. And at the end of the day, no matter the outcome, the retail rates of Entergy Texas and its sister utility companies in Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi will remain fully regulated by our state public utility or service commissions, depending upon which state you are in. So our state regulators will be fully engaged. Eventually, the proposal will be finally considered by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission up in Washington, D.C.
Okay, so now the big question, is everyone in favor of Entergy joining MISO?
Well, we are sharing a lot of information about joining MISO with a number of constituents. And as you can imagine, anything that changes the way we operate today in such a fundamental way requires a lot of careful study and deliberation. We're hopeful that after Entergy and MISO together have opportunities to present the facts to our regulators and other stakeholders, that a solid consensus will emerge and that MISO's membership will be the best way to provide the most reliable power at the lowest reasonable cost for our customers.
Okay, Joe, we're just about out of time, but I've learned quite a bit, and you've done a good job of breaking this down for our listeners. Okay, in short, can you summarize the benefits of us joining MISO?
Sure, Al. Joining MISO, one of the largest and most successful regional transmission organizations in the United States, really comes down to three things for our commercial, residential, and industrial customers. First, increased reliability. Second, lower costs. And then third, greater access to a more diverse supply of electricity. MISO brings more options, more infrastructure, more efficiency, and more experience that will only serve to enhance our electric supply. And we believe it is the smart choice for Entergy's customers.
Joe, thanks for coming over today and bringing us up to date on this important issue. I really believe anything we can do to improve the underlying infrastructure of Southeast Texas is very positive in terms of future growth and, of course, creating jobs.
Thank you, Al, and as always, it has been my pleasure.